Hello, it's Alison Sound here, the team vicar in the Melksham Team Ministry, and it's really good to connect with you again today at the kitchen table. Lately I've been responding really to comments from people when I've been doing these talks, and feel free to send me a text or an email or give me a call if there's something that you want to think about to help explore in your life and your questions about faith. So if there is something that's burning in your heart, do let me know. Today I'm wanting to talk about something that we have already looked at a kitchen table talk, and that's anxiety, worry. And I think we've talked about it several times in different ways. But I had a conversation with somebody who was talking about the level of anxiety that was being experienced in a chat room. People were talking to each other about really being anxious about all sorts of things, about what tomorrow will bring. We're at the stage in our lockdown and in our lives at the moment where there is real uncertainty, and that's across the whole of our nation, indeed the whole of our world. Everyone is taking steps forward, but very, very unsteadily and unsure. We are in uncharted territory completely. But the level of anxiety is almost rising again. I think we got into the rhythm of just relaxing a little bit after a few weeks, but now we're unsure. We're still nowhere near knowing how long this is all going to go on. And with that come the next level of pressures. Some of them are financial, and indeed we experience that within our own churches. We're not gathering, we're not meeting, so people aren't putting money in our plates. How are we going to cover the costs of keeping church going, of doing all the things that we need to do? Some of you might have been furloughed. Some of you may already have lost your job. What do you do? How are you going to find something else when you can't even begin to think about exploring in these lockdown days? Some of us are worried about whether we can get toilet roll or yeast or the things that we feel are really, really important in our lives, which take on much huger proportions than they would have done beforehand. I'm a baker. Life without flour was just a real anxiety. I've got plenty now. I bought it in bulk. Ridiculous. But for me, it made me feel better. I know I can bake a cake when all else fails. For me, that's how my anxiety is dealt with. We all have our own ways of coping. In the Bible, in Matthew's Gospel, Jesus is very clear about not wanting us to worry. And I'm going to read the passage to you again. It's from Matthew chapter 6, beginning to read at verse 25. Jesus says, "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more important than food, and the body more important than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they? Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the lilies of the field grow. They do not labour or spin. Yet I tell you that even Solomon in all his splendour was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you? O ye of little faith! So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. I think that's really interesting passage. Each day has trouble enough of its own. But did you hear what it said about worrying, making no difference? The things that we are often worried about are the things that we have no control over. You and I won't have any impact on the government decisions to release lockdown slowly, gradually, quickly, whatever we want. You and I aren't going to make a difference to that. Others will have that worry that they need to deal with. For you and I, we can't make things magically appear in shops. There are so many things that we cannot make disappear, the virus being one of them. We cannot alter the reality of the world we live in. But when we spend all our time and our energy filled with anxiety, then it stops us from experiencing the day and the positive things that are happening within it. When we worry overly much, we are denying ourselves the pleasure of what we're actually living in. My husband Derek was diagnosed with Alzheimer's a few years ago, and very early on in that diagnosis, he and I both decided that we wouldn't let fear of the future steal the time that we have. And that's been the way we've dealt with this horrible condition that he has, but by enjoying each day as we have it and be blessed in it, rather than being terrified of what is to come, because we can't alter what will come. It will be there anyway. So there are always huge things in life and small things in life that cause anxieties. But I want you to listen to the passage in Matthew. In there it's showing us that God knows us and loves us and will care for us and hold us. Sometimes we might want so much more freedom, more money, more power, whatever it is that we seek, always looking for something beyond what we have at the moment. The birds of the air live as they live. They fly, they feed. They live in their moment. So too with the lilies of the field, flowers that grow all kinds of flowers, beautiful in their moment, blessed in that time. Ours is a God of love, a God of generosity. And we've talked so much about trusting in God, about believing that we are held and that we are known, and even in our pain, we are not on our own. So as we think about what it is to let go of anxiety, to let that worry be truly for tomorrow, it's important that we understand the nature of that God who loves us. You might have worked at some point in your life for somebody who is a manager who is very fearful and bossy, or you're fearful because they're bossy, that keeps you in a place of doubt and anxiety in order to have you respond in a certain way. It's never very effective. When we work under pressure and under fear like that, we are never the best that we can be. Our God is a God of love and a God of generosity and a God of comfort. And he wants the best of us by showing us all of those things, not by keeping us in a place of fear, but by keeping us in a place of security in him. That's what he wants for us, to trust, to be in that moment with him. So when you lie in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning and a million things are going round your head and you think, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do about that? Know that in the middle of the night, probably the best thing to do in that moment is to speak to them, about them, in prayer to God. Hand them over, if you like, and then go to sleep and rest. Because tomorrow will come, the sun will rise, the birds will sing, the flowers will flower, and even though we might struggle and there might be difficult days ahead, each day will be each day. And in those days you will be loved by God and cared for by so many others. So know that and let it be your strength and your peace. Don't forget to send me an email or a text message if there's anything you want us to think about over the kitchen table. I'd love to hear from you. You'll see on screen tonight that there are also some additional information about our church, because our churches too are going through difficult times. And we have got up there some details if you would wish to give to help our churches in these times when doors are closed but church is open. If you do want to give, it would be gratefully received. And if you don't, it doesn't matter. I'll leave that one to you. But whatever, I'd love to see you here again tomorrow night so we can think about something different. God bless, stay safe, and try not to worry.